The U.S. Supreme Court handing down its final decisions of the term today.
One of them a big win for President Trump, a standout decision. The court's ruling limiting nationwide injunctions that block enforcement of the president's citizenship order. In a 6-3 ruling, the conservative majority backed President Trump's effort to curtail lower federal courts from issuing nationwide injunctions. Those lower court rulings served as a roadblock to Trump's agenda for months. The ruling left the fate of the president's executive order on birthright citizenship unclear because it did not address whether it's constitutional. Still, President Trump thanked the justices.
Thanks to this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with numerous policies that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis. And some of the cases we're talking about would be ending birthright citizenship, which now comes to the fore. That was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for people trying to scam the system and come into the country on a vacation.
We're joined now by 11 Alive's Joe Ripley. Joe, you're hearing from people on both sides of the aisle here and the potential for some confusion to come out of this ruling.
Yeah, exactly, Cheryl. Let's make it clear, though, tonight. Birthright citizenship still stands as the law of the land, but future cases could help change what that looks like after the Supreme Court's ruling today. With the Supreme Court's ruling on federal injunctions, Emory Law professor Jonathan Nash says it will limit district court rulings.
It sort of stifles litigation. So there is an argument that you'd like to have multiple district judges look at these claims and not just say one district judge can enter a ruling with respect to the whole country.
The law of birthright citizenship enshrined in the 14th Amendment of the Constitution remains unchanged, Nash says, but the Supreme Court's ruling shifts the power among the branches of government.
It's possible that we see this play out now in a bunch of smaller lawsuits, maybe state by state. Again, possibility of a nationwide class action.
That's exactly what Berenice Rodriguez is doing. The director of immigration rights group Georgia Casa says the ruling paves the way to change or get rid of birthright citizenship.
Ultimately, you're changing the status quo, and you will be creating chaos, anxiety, and fear. The biggest fear here is that they will eventually give birth, and they don't know where their children will stand.
Meantime, Georgia GOP Chair Josh McCoon calls the Supreme Court 6-3 ruling a win for the power of the presidency.
But it's going to be much harder now to stop federal action, even federal executive action, nationwide.
McCoon says the nation should adjust birthright citizenship to limit the ability for those who come into the country illegally to have children automatically become American citizens.
And it does create a lot of confusion. It creates a lot of difficulty in terms of enforcing our immigration laws.
Immigration laws that could change what it means to be a U.S. citizen.
We definitely are pushing forward protection for thousands and millions of future children that will be born.
And Professor Nash tells me tonight we are likely going to see several of these class action lawsuits across the country from advocacy groups, immigrants, and states themselves, all in an effort to ensure birthright citizenship stays in place and kids are not stripped of their citizenship.
All right, Joe, thanks a lot. The Supreme Court will likely rule on birthright citizenship eventually as more cases come up.